Hello students, welcome back, and we are here for the third chapter or third topic of this course, foundation course in Food and Beverage Service 1 Lab, where the course code is BSCH1007. In this course, we will understand the holding spoon and fork as a service skill. So students, let me tell you very strange thing and very something which you feel that you never know about it, that we do need the tongs for any kind of service in our normal day-to-day life. Do we know tongs? This is a kind of structure where which is kind of chimney in your home. But as a hotelier, as a hospitality student, you should be aware that we can also use our fork and spoon, which is all-purpose fork and all-purpose spoon, for making it as a tong and use it as a service gear. So in hospitality industry, this is very important that you should know how to use this service gear. When we say service gear, it simply means using of spoon and fork together and as a tong to serve anything. When I say anything, I mean it that everything which is semi-liquid and solid in nature can be served with the help of spoon and fork. So in today's lecture, we will try to understand that how we need to hold our spoon and fork as a service gear. We do have a couple of objectives on this. We need to get familiar with all the equipment that we use for this service. We will also try to understand the skill of handling service gears. We will try to understand and remember the name and recognize the equipment with their shape and sizes. And also you will understand the new skill of hospitality industry, which is silver service. In the coming stages and coming lectures, we will also be understanding many things about the different kind of services. But if you understand this today, that how we use our service gear, one thing is sure that you will be able to do silver service. And now what is silver service? That will be done in the upcoming chapters. But today, our motto is to understand this particular topic of service gear. So without wasting much time, let's start and understand what exactly it is. So guys, as you can see in the picture, that this particular way of holding spoon and fork is known as holding the service gears. These two together, when used as a service purpose rather than eating, is known as the service gears. This is a kind of uniqueness in the hospitality students that they can use this as their main gears of holding, picking and serving the food to the customers. So, holding spoon and fork. So guys, holding spoon and fork for silver service, you have couple of points to remember. Use one hand with the spoon on bottom and fork on the top. So you cannot do the vice versa. Understand, always spoon should be on the base of the fork, because spoon may carry liquid. So any of the semi gravy or semi texture of any of the liquid can be held in the spoon, and the solid part can be supported with the fork. So spoon and fork, and spoon supposed to be always on the base side or a bottom side. Now let's move to the next. We need to hold the fork between thumb and index finger. You need to understand that once you're already holding spoon in your hand, you need to use your index finger and your thumb to hold the fork, right? Hold spoon between remaining three fingers. The rest of the three fingers like this, the middle finger, the ring finger and the pinky finger, this has to be used for holding our spoon. So little and middle finger underneath supporting the spoon and the ring finger on top. So this is the way of holding the spoon. Guys, understand one thing. It is a kind of service where you can serve everything you have in your industry. But if you're not able to understand that how to hold it and you are not practicing it at all, you would not be able to serve it at all. So understand, becomes very easy if you know how to handle your spoon and fork and how to use them as a service gear. So you will not be requiring any other equipment of food and beverage service department for serving anything of the hospitality industry food. Now, hold the cutlery securely so as not to injure other. You need to understand that when you are holding spoon and fork in your hand, the fork do have the very pointed edges. So it should not be like this that someone is get injured because of that. So you need to be very careful when you're holding your cutleries and when you're holding your service gear for the service. Alright? Now let's find out the pick up food with the spoon and fork. There are a couple of things which you need to understand and you need to practice when you are doing the pick up food with the fork and spoon or the service gears. Place the spoon under food item or to the side of it. So you need to, as I said earlier, spoon has the uniqueness that it can hold the liquid or any kind of semi-texture liquidity, right? Any of the liquid part, it can be semi, it can be fully liquid, it can be held very easily by the spoon. So always place spoon under the fork, or if you are putting it, so you should be on the side. So it should be like in a taking position. Lower the fork on top of or other side of the food items. So whenever you feel that something is there, just as we mentioned in the video that there was egg or maybe there is a carrot, those things which are actually bigger in size and need to be held very carefully, you can do the upside down underneath of the fork. So you can just upside down the fork and edges should be towards the spoon, and then you are ready to do the needful of the service. For items such as chicken legs and rolls, the fork will be best used like a grab, the fork prongs pointing inwards towards the spoon. So something which I said earlier, if you're holding something which like chicken, like an egg, these things has to be grabbed very properly in a very professional way. For that, you need a proper holding, and fork and prongs can help you to do that. You need to do the upside down of the or inward of the fork towards the spoon, and the thing can be done very easily. For sliced meats and other flat dishes, the fork will be best used the other way, with the prongs pointing away from the spoon. For items such as peas, the small vegetables, you may not need to use the fork at all, but a use still be held. So guys, you can understand, if you say, since beginning of our childhood, we are using spoon and it's easy to eat with a spoon. But over here, we are talking about the service. So you don't need to get so overconfident that spoon is good enough to serve the easy things or thinner things. You should keep your fork with you or inward towards or outwards towards the spoon, but it has to be with the spoon always because it helps you to support the food. The spillage of the food cannot be happen if you are doing it in a proper fashion or if you are doing it with the help of both. If you are only believing that a spoon is good enough or a fork is not required, that trust me, the service gear is not complete, this service cannot be done, and there will always a chance of spillage. There is always a chance of getting things done wrongly. So you need to be very careful when you're doing it. You need to be very sure when you're doing it. So when I said that you need to understand what to be done and how to be done, then it simple mean that you need to understand that this is the only way of doing it. You need to hold it in a proper professional way. You need to understand that whatever has been taught, it has to be practiced in a same professional manner. So I hope you understand the benefits of the silver service or service gears. Let's move ahead and see couple of more video to get and understand this particular service style in more better way. So let's do it. Okay, so over here, when we move ahead, we'll come to know that once surely gripped, carefully lift the food item. You need to be very sure when you're holding something in your, if you're having grip of something, it should be very genuinely gripped. It should not be coming out from the spoon or fork. So otherwise the spillage will happen. You may spill it on the gas, on a table or somewhere where it should not be done. So it not shows the professionalism. So you need to be very sure something which you have grabbed, it should be completely in your hand and it's ready to serve. Place the food item neatly onto the plate, releasing from spoon and fork. Guys, you need to understand this is a kind of lever. So when you are holding it, you need to use your little pressure, and when you are putting it in a plate to serve, you need to open your little bit of thumb so that it should work like a lever, like a tongue, right? So that has to be done very carefully. The meat and fish item should be placed on the plate first, nearest the customer, and vegetable neatly around it. So guys, you need to understand this service allows you to serve everything, but you should know what to be served where. So whenever you are serving the main dish, for example, if you are serving the butter chicken, so chicken is the main ingredient of that dish. So chicken piece should be served first and followed by the gravy and other things, or maybe the garnishes has to be served. If you are serving, for example, you are serving kadhai paneer, so paneer along with a couple of vegetables has to be served first, followed by the garnishes and other vegetables. When we move ahead, we'll also understand the serving with the spoon and fork. So guys, you need to understand, you should never touch the food with your hand. This service gear has been made, this style has been made just to avoid the touching of the food. Touching of the food is not hygienically good. So you should not touch the food at all. It also helps you keep the serving dish as near the plate as possible to prevent spillage and accident. It is also known as platter to plate service. So platter is something where the food is getting carried from the kitchen, and plate where are you serving it. It's a platter to plate service. So when you platter to plate service, you need to be very careful and you need to understand you should be near to the plate. So any of the spillage should go directly on the plate, not on the table, not on the guest cloths. So any accident can be avoided if you are placing it very carefully. Place your left foot slightly forward so you have a comfortable stance. Always remember, your whole body structure should be very comfortable, should be very particular, where it should be very clearly done so that any of the uncomfortableness of the body should not happen. You should always place your left foot if you are the right-handed person. If you are left-handed person, you should keep your right leg forward and then do the needful of this service. Ensure that the correct posture is served. You should understand that in a spoon or fork service, you may not understand how much to be served. So you need to very clearly understand that how much you should serve from the platter. You should not overfill the plate of the customer, and you should not be placing the food on the customer plate which is less in the terms of volume or in terms of the capacity. So you need to understand both the things very carefully. What I can tell you that this service will help you in entirely of your food and service life career, because when I was a student like you and when I learned it, I was also my teacher also told me that you need to learn it, you need to do the practice much times. You need to practice it as much as times you can, and I started learning it. When I reached to my hotel life of 9 or 10 years of my career, from the beginning till the end, I was using this service style only. So this is how important this service style is. So using of service gear and holding a spoon and fork is very essential for any of the hospitality student. So let's see a small video and let us understand again that how and exactly it's supposed to be done. Let's go ahead. So guys, serving food using a service spoon and fork is a skill, and that is required in every steward. This skill can be mastered with some practices. Let us know how to hold a service spoon and a fork. Use your one hand, as he is mentioning you, one hand which is holding this spoon and another on same hand with the help of index finger and this thumb is using this fork. So you need to understand these three fingers are dedicatedly working for the spoon and these two dedicatedly working for the fork. So this is how you need to hold this. Now you need to be very careful that you should not be get injured to others. You need to hold it very carefully. You need to take this platter. You need to come closer to the plate. You need to hold this rice in between the fork and spoon very carefully. Press your fork a little bit over the spoon and start pouring it. You must have seen just now that how exactly we can serve the rice with the help of silver service. Over here, we do have the option of doing the same with two forks also. This over here, you will come to understand how different it is from the spoon. Now you can see it is also possible to do it with two forks, but you are not sure that it will may or may not spill, because spoon do have the characteristics of holding the things properly, grabbing the things properly, where these forks don't. So need to be very careful when you're doing this service in the restaurants. So this is what I wanted to make you sure about the silver service. With this video, I hope you understand practically that how silver service or holdings or service from spoon and fork is suitable and how exactly it can be done. So students, today's lecture was all about holding spoon and fork. I hope you understand in a proper manner that how exactly it's supposed to be done and what all things should be covered when you're doing it. Let me do a small recap for you. I told you in the beginning that the service spoon and service fork, when comes together for a service, that is called the silver service. Silver service also known as the platter to plate service. In this service, you use this all-purpose spoon or all-purpose fork or service spoon or service fork for serving any of the dishes of food industry, except something which is very liquid in nature, such as soups. So anything which is the combination of liquid and solid, or something which is solid in nature, such as salad, that can easily be served through this. This will help you to showcase your service, and this will also help you to avoid the tongs, because tongs can be actually heavy and can be used only for one purpose, whereas spoon and forks can be used faster, easy, conveniently, and can be used even for many other things too, right? While you're doing it, you need to hold the spoon first, because spoon is always supposed to come in the bottom. You need to use these three fingers, which is your middle finger, ring finger, index and your pinky finger all together for holding the spoon. You just need to remember that these two fingers, excluding the ring finger, should be down and the spoon should come in between. This will help you to hold the spoon. Followed by, once this has been done, on these two fingers, which is your thumb and your index finger, you need to use it as a holding of fork. So when you're holding a fork over the spoon, it becomes the silver service gear. So once you are ready with the service gear, you need to be careful with couple of things. The service gear should not be harmful for anyone as an injury, as an accident. You should be very careful when you're holding it. Second, whenever you're serving, you should be having the service gear, and should start serving very calm and composed way. The spoon should always be down under the fork. Fork can be upside or inside of the spoon as according to requirement of the serving. If you're serving something which is bigger inside, which need more pressure, you can do the fork upside down, or you can do it the inward position, where you can grab the bigger pieces of meat or maybe something which is bigger size, and when you are serving rice, salads, and something which is not requiring heaviness of the holding, you can put the fork in a normal position, which is outward position, and you can start serving it. Whenever you're serving it, you need to be very careful, because you may spill it on someone. So you need to do so much practice of doing this. This particular service is useful in the hotel industry of every outlet and every bar. So you need to become very familiar as soon as possible. Over here, alright students, let's see the questions which may arise from this particular topic. So till now we have understood that how do we need to use our spoon and fork as a service gear. So these are the couple of questions which may arise from this particular topic. Questions number 1. Briefly explain the term service gear. It is very important that you should know the terms and the meaning of the same. Followed by the next question number 2 can be, what are the basic equipments required to perform this task? So if this question may come, you can easily write if you know the equipment which is used for the service gear. Make sure that you are using the same fork and same spoon. I mean, if you are using AP fork, then you need to use AP spoon. Or if you are using if you are using Desert spoon, then you need to use the Desert fork. Question number 3 says, briefly explain the steps involved in holding these service gears. So you should know what all fingers and how exactly you need to tackle this service gear and how you need to perform this task. What standards do you follow while service with food, spoon and fork? This can be a question number 4, that what are the different standard categories and skill, what are the points you need to remember when you are using this service gear. Question number 5 can be, what standards do you follow while picking up the food with the spoon and forks? So you need to understand this, that while performing this task, there can be many issues may arise. So you should know what are the standards, what are the points you need to follow when you are doing the service with this style or with these service gears. These are a couple of questions which may arise from this particular topic. I hope you have understood completely about this topic, holding spoon and fork as a service gear which is used for the silver service, and you will try it and practice it as much as you can. We can complete it right now, and from my end this topic is complete. Thank you so much for understanding and keep practicing. Have a great day ahead.